It's a brilliant session. As the MC introduced, we have the Chief Executive Officer of Asmou and also a board member of Asmou Real Estate Company. I'll give you a brief introduction. He's a very humble gentleman from what he's accomplished. We'll go through his professional career, but I do want to add, towards the end, Mr. Essam has allowed questions from the audience. So what I'll do is I'll be very vigilant of that time to allow you all to ask any questions you would like from this session.
Thank you.
Mr. Essam is a Saudi civil engineer and an executive leader with more than 40 years of experience in real estate development, project management, and engineering roles. He's based in Jeddah. Essam balances executive leadership with a deep interest in architecture, governance models, real estate development, and has led numerous large-scale urban and real estate initiatives across the kingdom. He currently serves as the Chief Executive Officer of Asmou Development Company, the high-rise development arm of Asmou Group, and is the board member of Asmou Real Estate, where he contributes to the group's strategic direction and investment agenda. He's also a key driver of Asmou's 2025-2030 transformation roadmap, emphasizing governance excellence, organizational synergy, and business expansion. This is just a humble, very humble summary of the work that he's done, and you'll hear his work throughout this session.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lama. And I mean, there is nothing humble in it anymore. Thank you.
Mr. Essam, I do want to start with a brief introduction from your perspective. Can you walk us through your professional journey? You started out as an engineer, and what takeaways can people gain from your experience?
Bismillah. I tell my younger colleagues, my sons, and those who work with me, when they graduate as an engineer, I tell them the first thing to do, forget the second title. Don't think as a civil engineer, mechanical, electrical, or chemical. Just focus on the fact that you are an engineer. Because engineering, in my opinion, and for my limited expertise, is a way of thinking. It's a process for accomplishment. And it's also a channel to learn. So a civil engineer can educate himself to be a mechanical engineer, electrical, and so on. So this is the main advice I give to engineers, especially Saudis in a country like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where the platforms for learning and gaining expertise are huge.
Yep. And I think that's a brilliant starting point. I want to shift our focus to real estate. Obviously, under Vision 2030, there has been tremendous expansions taking place in the kingdom. How would you categorize the real estate industry in Saudi now, and where do you see it developing to?
Well, first of all, the kingdom is definitely going through a huge transformation. And most of us right now, the far majority, are true believers because we have started seeing the fruits of this transformation. The key point in this transformation is reducing the reliance on oil as the main source of income to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Real estate comes top on that list. The real estate sector, with all the activities that it promotes, direct and indirect, is a key contributor to this diversification of the economy of the country. And therefore, in the last decade, we have seen a genuine growth in the industry, supported by a number of factors. The demographics of the population is increasing, 2.3%, the increase annual rate in our population, and that's a very healthy indicator. The regulatory platforms are being updated and clarified almost weekly towards maturity of the systems and procedures and policies in the country. And also the demand is on the rise. With such demographic, the demand on residential is on the rise across the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Khobar, Jeddah, Medina, contributing to 75% of the total demand of the kingdom. The office spaces also in Riyadh, occupancy is more than 90%, and the dynamics of the demand supply are tight, encouraging still more supplies. New sectors are opening up. The industrial and logistics sector is under watch right now because the kingdom's push towards more manufacturing, the shift towards e-commerce is increasing opportunities in the logistics sector in the kingdom. So this is a synopsis of the real estate sector. It is very dynamic, it is healthy, and it is on the rise.
Brilliant, and I can attest to the office spaces in Riyadh. We've been trying to find an office space for a while. Everything is fully booked. So you've been in the sector for 40 years. So you bring such an interesting perspective to this topic. And Asmou is a household name. It's one of the main players that we can think of in the real estate market. I want to ask you, what are some of the pinpoints that you've noticed throughout your career? And what are some of the opportunities that are rising in the industry and some of the challenges as well?
Asmou is a company that is almost 20 years old right now, and it has been founded and managed as a chairman by one of the most dynamic entrepreneurs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the real estate sector, Dr. Ayed Al-Qahtani. This man has a vision and he has passion towards this particular industry. And through the experience or the journey of Asmou, it went through the changes that happened in the kingdom's economy and in the real estate economy. There has been a number of significant shifts in the industry. The focus has evolved and changed continuously, and it is evolving right now. For example, in the last 3 to 4 years, we are seeing more focus towards smart homes, compact homes, homes with amenities, and also the middle income category demand. So companies like Asmou try to adapt to this dynamic change of the market in order to stay, at the competitive edge. But also we have seen a lot of growth across all the sectors of the real estate. And as I said, in the main cities and especially around the development corridors in the main city. Riyadh stands as an exception, of course, because of the huge participation of the government-led mega projects and developments across the city. So Riyadh is enjoying a lot of the opportunities in real estate as well as other sectors. But Jeddah, Khobar, Mecca and Medina are main key points in the real estate market because of what they represent. Jeddah is the gateway to both Mecca and Medina, and also it's a city with great heritage and very big potentials and capabilities, being a coastal city and being also, it used to be, now it is the second commercial and trading center of Saudi Arabia. Being the gateway of Mecca by itself is a huge, huge driver. Mecca and Medina, totally different story, very positive story. The demand is on the rise in these two holy cities, of course pushed by and facilitated by the regulations and the enhancement in the regulations. It is much easier right now to come and perform Umrah than, let's say, what it was before the transformation program started 10 years ago. And this is why we are seeing a huge increase in the number of visitors to the holy sites in Mecca and Medina. And this is, of course, boosting the hospitality industry drastically in these two cities. In addition to that, a recent regulation to facilitate ownership in certain selected development zones in the two holy cities is opening up the door for a huge spike in the demand section or sector for real estate development in Mecca and Medina.
That's brilliant, especially the last part. It is opening plenty of opportunities and interest within Mecca and Medina. Let's discuss Asmou. What are some of the recent developments that you want to share with the audience? Are there any recent projects on the rise, shall I say?
Asmou is one of more than 8, maybe 10 subsidiaries of the Asmou holding company. And the Asmou holding, of course, is what I've mentioned, has been around now for almost 20 years with a portfolio that exceeds 10 billion US dollars. The Asmou group right now has between active and under finalization around 30 development projects across the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Originally, we started with Asmou Real Estate, which is right now publicly listed in the primary Saudi Arabian stock market. And I should say that the company is doing very well. And Asmou has been all the time, Asmou Real Estate has been through its life focusing on land and horizontal low-rise development. 4 years ago, reading the vision of the country and the direction where His Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman is facilitating to developers and to the economy of Saudi Arabia. Dr. Aid Al-Qahtani had his own vision, and he saw that contrary to what it was 10 years, 15 years ago, no big interest among the regulating bodies towards high-rise developments in the kingdom. The focus was on low-rise all the time. And high-rise was not as encouraged. In fact, it was a bit discouraged. But in the last 10 years, we have seen the shift towards more densification, urban densification in cities, and therefore more allowances to go up with the developments. And thus we captured that thought, and we established a new company called Asmou. And the name has a story. Asmou is a low-rise development. In Arabic, you put an alif standing for high-rise. The word becomes Asmou, which means to transcend and to go higher and up. So we created Asmou 4 years ago, and we wanted to quickly obtain qualification and to attain an acceptable legacy in this starting industry. We went to a twin tower in Jeddah that had been misfortune and stopped for like 7-8 years. It was meant to be the iconic development of Jeddah, started in the 2009, and then went through a lot of difficulties and problems with the previous developer. We made an acquisition to it in 2022, and we started turning it around. And Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, right now it's in approaching really the final stages of completion, but it has already established itself as an icon in the city of Jeddah. So through this experience, we entered into a new sector in the real estate development, high-rise development. And now Asmou is a company that is quite active. We have a project in Mecca, a 47-story high hotel tower that we have signed the agreements and we're about to start. We have a development in Medina al-Munawwara, not as high, but it's a twin tower, about 250 meters away from the Holy Mosque in Medina. And we have a huge development starting up in a fantastic location in Riyadh called Asmou Park, plus a number of others. Our experience was quite unique, and I would like, with your permission, to share it.
Please.
We went into a distressed development, and we had the determination, the will, and of course we had the guts to go through a very difficult project like that. However, the experience taught us a lot of things. In distressed facilities, there is a fantastic turnaround and therefore economic feasibility opportunity. And our experience showed us that we have changed this. At one time, it was really a hopeless facility. People thought that it will never see the light. We changed it into an icon and also a growth engine for us. We created a number of associations and alliances and partnership with local, regional, and international companies. And we created our own construction arm, which is right now enjoying 4 to 5 billion Saudi riyals projects across the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, despite being only 4 years old. And we also created and built up the capacity and the expertise needed to properly manage sophisticated projects like these. So our experience has been really fruitful, and it has been very rewarding, alhamdulillah.
That's brilliant. Can we give him a round of applause? I mean, those are wonderful achievements, just as it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
To turn around, I mean, the Twin Tower project from 2009, and now you're saying that it's almost finalized. That's brilliant.
I'm sorry, say that again?
And you said to turn around the Twin Towers project from 2009, and now it's nearly finalized.
Now it is, the residential part of it is 75% completed. We have one more year to go. Our target date with the RIGA and the ministry is the end of 2026. It looks, alhamdulillah, very feasible. We're working around the clock in the project. The hospitality and retail component is going to take a little longer than that, probably 6 months. But we have managed to sign with Kempinski Hotel. As a matter of fact, part of our modification of the building or development plan for the building, we changed part of the office space that was there into a 5-star hotel in a magnificent location at the Corniche of Jeddah. By the way, we are in the center of Jeddah Corniche, fabulous location. If you go anywhere from here, you wouldn't miss the Twin Tower, 72-story high and 63-story high building. So we've got the Kempinski right now, and right now we are going through reservations and tenants management for the retail. We have around 15,000 square meters of retail space with lots of F&B and entertainment facility. It's a complex that sits on 420,000 square meters. It's the second largest cluster in Saudi Arabia after the Clock Tower, King Abdulaziz Endowment Building in Mecca, and it's one of the highest built-up area clusters in the world. As a Twin Tower, I think it stands between 6 and 8 across the world in terms of height, standing at 313 meters high. It's a huge facility, and it has been a wonderful experience.
It's wonderful. So Asmou has 12 to 13 subsidiaries underneath it. And you have a very integrated approach when it comes to real estate. And I think there's a lot that the audience can benefit from your experience. Can you tell us about that integrated approach, and how does it set Asmou apart?
Sure. The vision of the founder, Dr. Aid Al-Qahtani, was to enhance specialization, okay, and also to build up a supply chain based on know-how and knowledge mainly. So this resulted in having a number of subsidiaries covering almost the full spectrum of the real estate industry development, at least in Saudi Arabia, of course. Although, alhamdulillah, I should happily report, we have signed for a significant project in Cairo about 4 or 5 months ago. We signed also for a very significant development project in Muscat, Oman, with the Ministry of Housing over there. And we have signed an LOI and developing the final agreement for an important development in the heart of the capital city, Amman, in the Jordan Hashemite Kingdom. Also, we were one of the pioneers to go to Syria and negotiate with the government over there for a key development in the heart of Damascus city. So this is our regional expansion, which came out from the maturity and success that we have, alhamdulillah, experienced in the Saudi market over the past 20 years. But I go back to the supply chain and to the integration between the real estate components that will eventually lead towards efficiency and towards, of course, profitability, because we are in this business to make money, plus making value for the society, for the population, and for the industry. So we have our own engineering arm. We have a company called PMA, where we are partners with. This company has Polyman as architects. It has offices in Paris and in Cairo. So we made partnership with that architectural firm in order to have this capability in-house or accessibly within reach. We have a construction arm with a pipeline of around 18 active projects and 12 being made ready. You have enough business to create your construction arm. So we have a Buna Kingdom company, which is providing the construction activities to most of our projects. We have a marketing and sales independent company called Adir. And Adir right now has been or has entered into the secondary stock market in Saudi Arabia. And it provides the tail end of the real estate development work, which is selling, marketing the product and selling them. And in between these, we have an office, a specialized office that does all our feasibilities and all our financial, calculations and risk mitigations and all that as a unit within the company. We have 3 companies, specific companies for big size projects. For people going to Mecca, on your right-hand side, after you enter into the sacred zone, there is a huge development sitting on 1.6 million square meters called Dahiyat Asmou. If you go from the airport to Mecca through the new road called Hada Sham Road, we have a huge development in partnership with the Jeddah Municipality Company on 4.2 million square meters, which is going to be like a suburb to the Jeddah city. We have another project, big project in a very important location, across road between King Khalid and King Abdullah roads in Riyadh, right adjacent to Al Jawhara Mega Mall. This development is called Asmou Park. It's going to be a 3 billion Saudi riyals development. So this integration provides the main services that we need in order to respond quickly to opportunities. You need to be extremely fast in recognizing the opportunity and in quickly classifying it and filtering it and identifying go or no go. And then after that, you need to quickly conceptualize what is it that you want to build, what kind of product that fits that particular location in the market at the current phase. And once you do that, of course, then we get into the bread and butter of our business is management development. We handle the transformation of an approved design all the way into keys and spaces, into final product. So the integration has been key to our success, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, and it really worked, and it increases the efficiency. But integration, if I can add, has to be coupled by very important parameters to make sure that the business goes in the right direction. One has to pay great attention to the ESG, the environmental, the social, and also the governance requirement, because this qualifies you and makes your organization acceptable, maybe appealing even to financial institutions and to the main government institutions that you have to work with or through. So alhamdulillah, we have been following a governance structure in the company, a continuous improvement in our businesses. And this is the main driver why we pushed for listing Asmou real estate into the stock market, and also listing Adir marketing and sales into the stock market. Getting into the stock market has many advantages, okay? One of which, and the most important of which, it consolidates your desire if you have one, or it forces you, if you don't have one, to structure yourself properly, to follow a governance system of managing your business. And believe me, this is where sustainability of work and activities lies.
That's brilliant. I have one more question, but I want to open the floor up to you. If anyone in the audience has a question, I believe our organizers can come around with a mic. I can't see very clearly because the lights are so bright. We have a question in the front. Yes, please, sir. Introduce yourself and then ask your question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Engineer Essam is a good friend, so congratulations on the talk. My name is Charles Constantine from this wonderful company here, Gutman Ami Group. Join us later for a nice chat about the expertise and envelope. My question to fantastic engineer Essam is just one and simple. How strategic do you see the growth of the Western province through the wonderful changes that are happening here in Jeddah? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you so much. Very significant. As I said earlier, that 70% of all development activities in Saudi Arabia are in Riyadh, Khobar, and the Western region. Western region being mainly Jeddah, Mecca, and Medina. In addition to Taif. Taif, by the way, is seeing significant opportunities and a very focused attention from the government. So the Western region is standing very high on the list of the potential opportunities. For the Western region, the growth is always organic. Okay, Riyadh is a fantastic city, and the government has put a lot of potentials and a lot of government-led initiatives that made this fantastic transformation, which we are all proud of, for our capital to be as it is right now. It is with the steady steps moving towards a global city status. However, in the Western region, because of the presence of Mecca and Medina, and Jeddah being a coastal city, a main port of Saudi Arabia on the Red Sea, the growth is always there. And the regulations and what the government has been doing part of this blessed transformation, easing up the requirements, facilitating, implementing more digitization in e-government and services like that, is making the demand prospects look extremely lucrative for Mecca, Medina, and Jeddah. Thank you.
Brilliant. I think we have time for one more question. I'll allow the audience. If not, I have a question. Okay, I'll take the question. I do want to ask you, Mr. Essam, this has been such a wonderful and insightful session.
Thank you.
My last question is, if you could leave the audience with one takeaway from your perspective, from your expertise, what would that be?
Thank you. Thank you again for inviting me, and I thank the audience for their presence. Saudi Arabia is an interesting place. It is right now on a good stage. I wouldn't say center stage, but close to it. Definitely regionally and at the global level from an economical point of view. I was recently in an international conference in Istanbul about hospitality, And a gentleman from The Economist gave an economic overview. We were in Istanbul, so we were not in Saudi Arabia. And one of his main messages was to keep an eye on promising markets. So it was China, India, Saudi Arabia, and Brazil. So Saudi Arabia is a place to look for economic growth for the next years and decades. We're having the World Cup organized, we're having the Expo organized, and that's not the end of the path. I am sure by the time we have one of these two events completed, the government is going to initiate another international event. So the demand, supported by a clear vision for the country. The government of Saudi Arabia has succeeded in the last 5 years in branding the country. And branding a country is a main driver for all economic sectors. And Saudi Arabia right now is a well-known name, you know. We are having many visitors coming from across the globe to go to Al-Ula, to go to Abha, to go to Riyadh. And of course, all along, we have the blessed visitors who always come to Mecca and Medina. So my message is, as Mr. Ravi very well articulated in his introduction speech, don't just believe in the validity and power of the transformation of Saudi Arabia, but try to be part of it. And this is my message to all. Saudi Arabia is going to be where rewarding activities and opportunities are going to be present for the next decade at least. And this is what I'd like to leave the audience with.
Inspiring, as always, Mr. Essam. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you so much for being a part of this session.